Ladies and gentlemen, Washington Examiner, Lincoln Project sordid spiral leaves members disgraced, betrayed, and in some cases rich. So, that pretty much explains what happens when somebody spends 4 years of their life devoted to undermining President Trump. Very likely, their skeletons will come out of the closet, they'll be disgraced, they'll be betrayed by either the Democratic Party or themselves. All of their dirty laundry, and in the Lincoln Project's case, possible criminal behavior, allegations of really disgusting, nefarious activity, all of that will come out. So they were the moral foundation for many Democrats to level this contempt against Trump. Oh, look at the good Republicans. They're good Republicans. The Lincoln Project is the reason, one of the primary reasons I voted for President Trump. And I supported President Trump after being the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Why is that important? Why do I always bring that up? Because there's a direct line between Bernie Sanders and President Trump. There's not a direct line between Bernie Sanders and Biden. They had to work overtime. Bernie Sanders promised Medicare. He told his voters he wanted Medicare for all, Green New Deal legislation, universal basic income, stimulus checks of a certain amount. He's not getting any of that. Bernie and AOC and others exist to funnel left-leaning votes back into the Democratic Party. The Democrats run a giant racket, a political racket and scam. So they're all about incremental change, but that's not how they get votes. If they were just honest and saying, we're not going to do any of these things, but we're for incremental change, that would be noble, that would be honorable, but that's not what they do. So you have Jimmy Dore, who's a hero, who says, hey, you promised millions upon millions of people certain policies. And instead of abiding by fulfilling those promises, I mean, they have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency, what more do they want? When will the ground be fertile enough for them to even have a vote? When will it be politically feasible for them to even have a vote? Okay, they don't have the votes for impeachment. President Trump's going to be acquitted. So what Jimmy Dore and others are doing is they're putting a mirror to the Democratic Party and saying, look, this is who you are. You're a bunch of liars who promise people the world and give people nothing. Where's the immigration bill that they were... President Trump stood for everything horrible to them. And yet, in terms of policies, they don't have policies that are vastly different from President Trump. Okay? They don't. Where's the immigration bill that they're trying to push through Congress? Where's the Medicare for all legislation? Where's the Green New Deal legislation? Where's the universal basic income? It's not happening. So they've lied to their voters. That's another story. But you look at the Lincoln Project, hit subscribe to this channel right now. We're on our way to 200,000 subscribers. One of the big reasons that there's a direct line between Bernie Sanders and President Trump is that Bernie Sanders voters, many people on the left, a great many on the left, oppose the Lincoln Project never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. Endless regime change and interventions that cause chaos, suffering, mayhem, instability. Bush and President Obama destabilized regions of the world. There are people, human beings being bought and sold right now because of President Obama's failed NATO intervention. That's worse than anything that Trump ever did on social media. The thing with President Trump is that his accomplishments are profound. Abraham Accords, first president to step foot in North Korea to begin détente between North and South Korea. Reversing U.S. foreign policy, ending our military conflict officially in Afghanistan. Longest running military conflict. Okay? Removing Americans from regions of the world like Syria, for example. And then the rebuttal that from Democrats was, we tricked him, we deceived him. We didn't give him the correct intelligence. There's actually Americans still there. It's like, this is what Trump was going up against. Were there missteps? Sure, there were missteps. And I bring them up because he has to learn. President Trump has to learn going forward. He's going to control the Republican Party very soon, completely. He's kicked the Lincoln Project out for good. All he had to do, I mean, honestly, all he had to do was get off Twitter, and then all the skeletons would just, I mean, they have more skeletons than a graveyard, the Lincoln Project people. Steve Schmidt resigned, and the reason for his resignation is hilarious. He tried to make this into some kind of moral stance, when in reality this is interesting. These are the same people who used the despicable phrase cut and run when it came to removing Americans from never-ending wars. These people are cutting and running because you're talking about the most nefarious political operatives that slither from the Bush era, Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld world into the Biden, Clinton, President Obama, Democratic, smart power, foreign policy world. And you look, if President Trump is impeached for the crimes of others, like he didn't tell people to do anything. There shouldn't have been protests that day. There should have been a national dialogue, discussion, discourse, debate over the claims that President Trump was making. He could have fostered that. And I've spoken endlessly about how he could have fostered that discussion, that national dialogue, even if media didn't want to hear it. But they don't have, see, there's evidence against Lincoln Project people. One in particular. There's evidence you can use in a court of law. They're not going after President Trump in a court of law. Nobody's filed a criminal charge in a police station, a criminal report. They did file Tara Reade filed a criminal report against Biden. That never happened against Trump. And so you have the Democratic Party is pure hypocrisy. You look it up in the dictionary, hypocrite, you'll see a Democratic politician. You'll see Biden. You'll see Clinton. You'll see all the wonderful liberals on Twitter or Democratic voters on Twitter who say, believe against Kavanaugh or Trump, but definitely don't when it's Biden. In fact, I think Kamala Harris stated that she did believe, but she's still going to be, she was still voting and obviously became Biden's vice president. So they have no value system. Their value system just spins around. It's like a spinning top, or their moral compass. It's like a spinning top. It lands wherever is the most political, wherever they can derive the most political utility. Show what they did, and this is so important. Lincoln Project, which just a month ago was awash in cash and planning an ambitious transformation into a media powerhouse, absorbed its latest gut punch Thursday night in a drama that played out on Twitter. The group's account tweeted screenshots of private messages from a journalist in an apparent and shocking bid to intimidate other reporters and discredit a flurry of damaging stories. These are the types of all of their nasty, disgusting, we're the political operatives that Trump used. President Trump was a one-man show. He shouldn't have tweeted certain things. He shouldn't have insulted LeBron James. He shouldn't have insulted NFL athletes. There are things he shouldn't have done on Twitter. But where's the equivalent of the Lincoln Project? They say Stephen Miller, oh my God. President Obama's immigration policy was pretty much the same as Trump. You want to go, there's a Guardian article, Orphaned by Deportation. There are endless articles talking about all the tragedies that took place during President Obama's administration, including a Senate report where, young human beings had to experience, I can't even get into the Senate report of President Obama's years pertaining to his policies. YouTube guidelines won't allow me to talk about the Senate report. Go look it up. There's actually a New York Magazine article. And they sweep it under the rug. They say, well, it wasn't an official policy. Yes, it was. It was an official policy. And it happened under President Obama's administration. Nobody knows where those human beings are. Family separation was horrendous. I oppose that. And this is just as, if not even more horrendous. But again, if you're a Democratic voter, you don't know all the negative and you don't know all the tragedies and atrocities that took place under President Obama. You don't know. People live their lives on the left. Many people on the left, they wake up in the morning, and they oftentimes they're atheists. It's fine, or agnostic or whatever. But they don't say, "Geez, thank God, it's a great day, and I could just live my life and try to be a productive member of society." They say, "I am going to." They don't say that thank the universe, or I would say thank science, but their religion, their God, what they worship oftentimes, and there's a lot of atheists who voted for Trump, but what I'm trying to tell you is their theology, their moral code, almost like a religion, is despising Trump. They wake up to despise Trump. It gives them, it sustains them. They think that they're fighting the 1930s and 1940s Germans. And so they call up friends and family. "I can't be your friend anymore. You're the reincarnation of the 1930s and 1940s, or you're supporting them." It's like, no, President Trump signed an executive order combating anti-Semitism, utilizing the definition of the word from the IHRA. They know a lot more about that time period than any apoplectic, seething, fuming, hysterical, fanatical, manic liberal, manic, morally superior liberal that just can't stand Trump. Okay, you don't like Trump's personality, fine. That's understandable. Like it's understandable why people wouldn't like his personality if they just were Democratic voters. But to call him a 1930, the reincarnation of a despot or a tyrant, you're making a leap of logic that is so absurd it borders on mania. Actually, it enters into that world. President Trump moved the embassy to Jerusalem, presided over the Abraham Accords, peace between Israel, UAE, Morocco, Bahrain, signed an executive order combating anti-Semitism. It was AOC who likened what's taking place at the southern part of the U.S. to a time period that even Yad Vashem stated, hey, learn more about what you're talking about. Yad Vashem in Jerusalem actually refuted what she, went out of its way to tweet, and it was as diplomatic as possible, but it refuted and essentially condemned what she was saying. And I wrote about that in the Jerusalem Post. Read my op-ed. But my God, see, this is the thing. It's like, I don't care if a person voted for Biden. It doesn't bother me. Biden's track record is horrendous in terms of foreign policy. He voted alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. He voted for the failed NATO intervention in Libya. He has more scandals and controversies that actually have evidence. See, there were no emails linked to Trump. There are endless emails linked to Clinton and Biden, and they all show to pay-to-play schemes. But see, journalists always say they need absolute categorical proof if you make any accusation against a Democrat. But with Trump, they actually take a quote that's attributed to Trump, which is not even journalism. It's just gossip, hearsay, and the most despicable and nefarious type of writing in The Atlantic that said he disparaged fallen Americans. He wants to bring... That's absurd. That's the most... Could you imagine if they did that against a Democrat? They'd say, well, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? They don't have anything. They have to make up quotes. They have to use a blue check mark. They had to pretend a tweet that he retweeted had a blue check mark. Adam Schiff had to use a parody of the actual transcript, or the White House release of the transcript between the call of Zelensky. They have to buy a dossier. They don't have enough on Trump. But what they have is contempt. What they have is anything goes with Trump. You better have categorical proof. You can't even investigate with Democrats. You can't even be suspicious. And now the fact-checking organizations aren't even checking facts. They're checking sentiment. Oh, she didn't exaggerate. That's a matter of opinion. That's a subjective issue. Did the Dodgers win the World Series in 1955? Yes or no? Yes, they did. The Yankees did not. End of story. End of fact check. That's it. What they're doing is they're trying to continue the Democratic Party or liberal arguments. That's it. The Republicans like Mitt Romney and Ben Sasse and the Lincoln Project are just as bad. Actually, it's not. The Democrats are not the biggest adversary of President Trump, not by a million miles. It's the Republicans that side with the Democratic Party, the Ben Sass and Mitt Romneys of the world. I think that they realize that at the end of the day, the Democratic Party and media will go after them in the same manner they went after Trump, but they're just waiting. They're trying to just bide their time. They're trying to just garner as much positive press just to fuel enough goodwill to maybe take over the Republican Party. But 2/3 of Republicans would leave the GOP if President Trump started a new political party. So what they're doing is they're ensuring that they'll never again be voted into office. They'll be voted out. They're ensuring they'll be voted out of office, I should say. Steve Schmidt, Weaver, Wilson, what's his name, Conway. These people slithered into the Democratic Party, and oh my God, they were retweeted. That's why I don't have Twitter. I haven't had Twitter for 2 years, okay? There's some person impersonating me breaking the law, but I haven't had Twitter for 2 years. I haven't had Facebook. I told everyone, delete your Twitter account. The worst thing that ever happened to that platform is to ban President Trump. It's the best thing that ever happened to President Trump. He can now focus on taking over the Republican Party, making it a populist political party that opposes endless wars. I know that's okay. Opposing endless wars is on the bottom. It's not even on the radar of policy of issues that Democrats think are important. They don't care. They liken it to like Germany and Japan. Oh well, we'll just have soldiers there forever. Okay, but Germany and Japan were not. Our soldiers didn't at the end of those wars didn't enter counterinsurgency conflicts. It's unbelievable how people who despise President Trump simply don't understand, nor do they care why. The moral reasons to vote for President Trump. Ending regime change is a moral reason. Much more important to the planet than even climate change. Much more important. Because you have nuclear powers in one location of the world that ends the planet very quickly. But again, they don't. They say Trump is a madman despot, but then they're okay with President Trump just leaving Americans in regions of the world that are a powder keg because of Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld's foreign policy and President Obama's foreign policy, where many of the countries have nuclear weapons. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. The skeletons and the illegal behavior and the criminal conduct, allegedly, of Lincoln Project people is now out in the open. They've tried to intimidate. See, I told you, the serpents, I've been saying for a long time, these political operatives are like serpents. They're like snakes. They just slither into one political side. They slither out of one political side into another, and they're probably going to try to get back into the Republican Party. It ain't going to work. So now they have no place to go. Where are they going to go? The Green Party? No. At least the Green Party stands up. Like, I have respect for the Green Party, People's Party, Democratic Socialists of America, all these political parties. They actually rise up. Libertarian Party, I don't understand, because you're actually getting libertarian policies with Trump. You actually voted. But see, again, that's another story. But at least, you know what? It's a political party that the GOP has to deal with. And that alone is going to bring the Republicans more towards President Trump. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. I'll be back numerous times today.